They stood you naked in front of a panel of officers, prodded your body like livestock, checked your teeth, your muscles, your eyesight, asked if you could read, made you prove you were actually a Roman citizen. 1 in 3 men failed right there, and that was just to get in the door. If you passed, congratulations. You just signed up for 25 years of the most brutal job in the ancient world. 4 months of training that would break half the men who started. Marching 20 miles a day with 45 pounds on your back. Learning to fight with wooden weapons deliberately made heavier than real ones. Your arms screamed, your legs gave out. Then, if you survived training, 25 years of digging ditches, building roads, and waiting for the day when you'd finally face an enemy who wanted to kill you. Most men joined at 17. They'd be 42 when they got out, if they got out. This was what they never told you about joining a Roman legion. Before we dive deeper into what it actually took to become a Roman legionary, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you'll want to see where this goes. You couldn't just walk up and join. First, you had to be a Roman citizen, full citizenship. Slaves couldn't join. Freedmen usually couldn't either, unless Rome was desperate. Criminals were out. Anyone with a bad reputation didn't stand a chance. The process started with the probatio, the inspection and interview under the provincial governor's authority. You'd state your name, your father's name, your tribe. These 3 pieces could verify your citizenship if everything checked out. But verifying status wasn't always straightforward. There's a documented case from '92 where an optio was accused of not actually being a citizen. That's the kind of scandal that could end careers. Then came the physical inspection. You stood there while officers examined you like they were buying a horse. Height mattered enormously. The ideal recruit stood about 6 Roman feet tall, roughly 5 feet 10 inches or 177 centimeters. For elite units, they wanted men even taller. Shorter men could be accepted if they had exceptional build, but height was preferred. They checked your build. Broad shoulders, strong limbs, muscular legs and arms. They examined your chest, looked at your teeth, checked for deformities or chronic health problems. Your eyesight had to be sharp, your hearing good. Some sources mention checking for bad breath, no diseases, no weird smells. You had to be healthy, young, and strong. Age requirements ranged from 17 to 23 years old. Most recruits fell in this range, young enough for decades of service ahead. Then came the skills assessment. Could you read and write? That was huge. Literacy was rare, and the Roman military desperately needed men who could handle paperwork. If you could read and write Latin, you'd massively increased your value and career prospects. They also asked about trades: blacksmith, carpenter. The army loved practical skills. Letters of recommendation helped too. A note from your father if he'd served, or from someone in the military, carried weight. The officers were looking for character as much as capability. Let's say you passed everything. You took the sacramentum, the military oath. By swearing it, you gave up your civilian rights. You couldn't back out. For the next 25 years, you belonged to Rome. Some sources mention recruits received a mark on their hand, possibly a tattoo or brand, to discourage desertion. You also got a signing bonus, 3 gold pieces. But deductions were coming. Pay deductions for food, lodging, equipment. Training lasted 4 months of the most physically demanding work most young men had ever experienced. Many didn't make it through. The first thing every recruit learned was how to march. Military marching, synchronized, disciplined, relentless. According to Vegetius, recruits marched to 20 Roman miles in 5 summer hours at regular pace. That's about 18.5 modern miles, or 29.5 kilometers, with full packs, in the summer heat. At quick pace, the requirement jumped to 24 Roman miles in 5 hours. For context, The modern US Army requires 20 kilometers in 3 hours. The Romans did more distance in more time while wearing sandals and maintaining strict formation. No stragglers, no breaking ranks. You marched until your legs felt like they'd fall off. Swimming came next. Every recruit had to learn during summer months if camp was near water. Rivers didn't always have bridges. You needed to swim in armor, cross rivers with your unit, ford streams with gear overhead. Then combat training. You got a wooden sword and wicker shield, both deliberately heavier than real equipment. The logic was simple. Train with twice the weight, and actual combat gear feels light. You spent hours striking at wooden stakes called pels. Only after showing proficiency did you spar with other recruits. Weapons instructors who excelled got double rations. Those who failed got reduced rations. Training covered javelins too, again with heavier practice versions. You drilled formations, learning to fight as a unit. But combat wasn't the only skill. Every legionary was expected to be part soldier, part construction worker. You learned to dig ditches, build fortifications, construct camps. A proper Roman camp included trench, ramparts, and fence. You were expected to build it in 5 hours. Training happened twice daily for weapons work, regardless of weather. Some facilities built roofed halls for winter training. The man overseeing this was often an optio. Cross him and your life got harder. After 4 months, if you survived, you were ready. But training never really ended. You'd keep drilling your entire career. You've made it through training. You're now a miles, a basic foot soldier. Most legionaries spent their entire 25-year career at this rank. No promotions, no special status, just hard work and waiting. Here's the surprising part. You only owed about 40 days of military service per year. The rest of the year, you were on call, but mostly handling other duties. So what did you do? A lot of manual labor. Legionaries built roads connecting Rome's territories. They built aqueducts. They erected fortifications. They dug drainage ditches, repaired bridges, maintained infrastructure. You also handled camp maintenance, hauling supplies, chopping wood. Your closest companions were your contubernium, the tent group of 8 soldiers you lived with. You shared everything with these 7 other men. They became your family. Pay came regularly, but with deductions. Food, lodging, gear. You weren't getting rich, but it was steady work. And for men from poor backgrounds, that mattered. Being a miles forever wasn't your only option. If you had skills or showed promise, you could escape grunt work and climb ranks. The first step up was immunis, exempt from regular manual labor. You'd still fight when called, but your work shifted to specialized roles. Medics, engineers, blacksmiths, bookkeepers, better pay, less backbreaking work. Literacy was your golden ticket. If you could read and write Latin, you had options. The Legion needed clerks, record keepers. These positions kept you away from ditches. From there you might become a junior officer. A tesserarius kept watch schedules. A signifer carried the unit standard and managed payroll. These required competence and trust. The next big promotion was optio, the centurion's right-hand man. As an optio, you'd oversee paperwork, logistics, construction, training. You'd enforce discipline, and if your centurion fell in battle, you'd take command. The ultimate goal was centurion. This position commanded 80 legionaries. Centurions led from the front, literally first into combat. This meant centurion mortality rates were high. Off the battlefield, centurions handled administration, approving leave, judging disputes, maintaining order. The pay was excellent, the prestige real. For a common man, this was as high as you could climb. If you were exceptional and survived battle after battle, you might become primus pilus, the senior-most centurion. You'd advise the legate, coordinate with officers. You'd earned your way to the top through decades of service, but that was the ceiling. Everything above required noble birth. Tribunes, legates came from senatorial families. Class barriers were real and unbreakable. "25 years of service, a quarter century of your life. If you enlisted at 18, you'd be 43 when you got out, if you got out." The physical toll was enormous. Decades of marching destroyed knees and backs. Combat left men scarred, maimed. Disease ran through camps, killing more soldiers than battles did. Dysentery, fevers, infections. The Legion had medics, but ancient medicine had limitations. Centurions faced particularly high mortality. Leading from the front meant being first to meet enemy weapons. Studies of military cemeteries show centurions died in combat at significantly higher rates. Living conditions weren't comfortable. You slept in barracks with your contubernium, 8 men to a room, no privacy. And there was the psychological toll. Watching friends die, killing people, living with constant readiness for violence. That left marks that didn't show as scars. But if you survived, the rewards were substantial. After 25 years, you received a pension and usually land. Retired veterans settled in colonies established for them. You'd have status, property. For auxiliary troops, non-citizens in supporting roles, the reward was citizenship upon discharge. Not just for them, but their families too. Military service became a path to social mobility. Joining a Roman legion wasn't the adventure story we imagine. It was a naked inspection that treated you like livestock. 4 months of training designed to break you. 25 years of digging ditches and marching until your legs gave out. If you were skilled or lucky, you climbed the ranks. If not, you stayed a grunt. And through it all, you built an empire that lasted centuries. If this look into what it actually took to become a Roman legionary changed how you see ancient Rome, hit that like button and subscribe for more history that shows you the reality behind the legend. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.